Hello Steve, hello Jill. It's time to game classy.
There we go. That took forever.
The thing
I like.
Hold on. The cable's all wonky. Wabonky.
I like the combo is
I'm
my.
sorry, but I have to show you this before we start. That's before and after.
Well, the after's at least better. It's bad, but I like a mix of styles on the model. When I see a painted model, I like to see different things.
This one is so I use a white undercoat. You know how I use the airbrush white undercoat. I don't use the sprays anymore. And then what I do is for the metals, I do first. I undercoat with an ink, whatever color I usually will shade the metal with. So like a silver, I always will shade with a purple first on any silver that I do. Generally, depending. And so what I do now is I do the white undercoat, then I do all of the metal with the silver and with all the silver with a purple ink first. Then I do the silver over that, and then I'll usually do the highlight and then do whatever color over that. So all my models like now look like the Carnival of Chaos because they're all purples and greens and reds and crap like that because whatever undercoat.
You have done you've adapted a pastel scheme.
Well, it's a little pastel-y, but it's definitely interesting.
I was like Spetague's ogres. You know those the pastogers.
The pastogers. He's doing well. I just got his Kickstarter stuff in.
Oh, nice.
I still haven't gotten the rule book yet. Ed, I know you don't. He doesn't listen to podcasts. No. What the fuck's a podcast?
He's probably off hiking in the mountains somewhere.
I'm not gonna. You're kidding me? Ed would never go out to the mountains. Ed's in a pub somewhere getting drunk at 9 a.m.
Yeah, that's true.
Like, I'm gonna drink. That's
He just woke up in the corner of the pub and got some more drinks.
Yeah, that's what a Cornish man does. He comes out of the silver mine and then he drinks.
Galactic.
Galactic.
I was like, hey Ed, how you doing today? Galactic. Oh, all right.
No, but he does the 15mm stuff. That's great. It turns out real nice. I wish I had some time to really work on it some more. I've done a couple things for it, but it's mainly just like, okay, I'm done with 28. I need to take a break. I need to do something different for 5-10 minutes. So I'll paint up a little 15mm dwarf or something like that, and it'll be fun. But that's about it.
You're a 15mm dwarf.
I am. So we have lots of news to cover today. I don't know if we want to cover any of it, but
Spartan closed.
I was gonna say we could cover the news.
Relic Games closed.
Or we could talk about Lord of the Rings.
I mean, there's really no more news to it. It's just it's like that's what happened. Spartan closed. Relic Games closed.
Well,
or Tor Gaming, whatever the hell it's called.
Okay, so
both UK companies.
Yeah. So let's talk about Spartan first. So 'cause Spartan is one of those games that we make fun of all the time. The worst rule books known to mankind.
It's true.
I don't think the rules are as terrible as everyone says they are. I know you hate the exploding sixes.
Yes,
you are completely anti-exploding six.
I don't like exploding sixes in anything outside of like an RPG or a board game.
I was going to say Age of Sigmar has exploding sixes.
No,
a couple units have them.
Age of Sigmar has like triggers on six. Like, if you score a 6, it, like, adds a mortal wound. Like, that's okay, because that's a different thing. Exploding sixes means, like, you can just...
No, a couple of the orc units, when they roll sixes, they keep rolling sixes.
But you can only do it one extra time. Because of the rule of one.
The rule of one, yes.
It prevents you from doing it.
But if you're not playing by tourney rules, you don't have to worry about the rule.
Then that's awful.
Yeah. No, well, I'll get into that later, but...
Yeah, I don't like because because it's already easy enough to get diced in a game.
Yeah.
Adding even more like it's okay to do like as long as there's a limit. Like if it's like if it's one bonus,
yeah,
we're all right. Like if you score a 6 and that nets you one reroll or an additional chop, okay. But if it keeps going, it can very quickly like spread into the levels of very absurd.
Very absurd. Well, yeah.
The first demo game I played of fucking Seas, I rolled 6 sixes and I blew up the dude's capital ship with my fucking schooner. It was I had like a little shitty fucking tiny ship with one cannon on it.
It's a schooner.
And I shot at his fucking galleon and I'm just like 6. And he's like, oh, you roll again. And I'm like 6. And he's like, you roll again. I'm like, I just kept rolling 6s. He's like, okay, my ship's destroyed. And I'm like, what?
Yeah.
Like that is no good.
I mean, like we could go through the long sordid history of Spartan going back to their Uncharted Seas days where it was like, hey, Everyone likes. People liked Man of War. No, they didn't. People liked Man of War.
People liked the ships.
Yeah, the rule set was awful.
People loved the ships. People still love the Man of War ships.
I have a bunch of them at home, of course.
Yeah, the ships are cool.
I should sell them, but the
I don't know if there's a lot of interest in Man of War.
There's so many recasts of them right now. Like a couple years back, someone started really recasting them, and GW never called them on it. So there's a ton of recasts. Yeah. But but I got them all in the original boxes. That's the difference. Well, with all the sales and the masks.
That'll definitely add some value.
Yeah. So so they did Uncharted Seas, which made them popular. People liked that game. It wasn't terrible, but it wasn't great.
Yeah, I would say Uncharted Seas was not an awful game.
No, it was mediocre. I would give it like a C+.
I'd say passable.
Passable. Yeah, passable.
Like for what it was like decently fun.
And then they did Firestorm Armada, which is the same rule set. No major issues, but they really focused on Firestorm after that. Like, it was all about Firestorm. Uncharted Seas, they were like, oh, yeah, we still got this game.
Yeah, it got token support at best after that.
Well, and the worst thing was the sculpts were all the flat-bottom, like, one-piece mold sculpts. So there was obviously some guy like me in a basement with, like, a pressure caster, like, I'm just going to make them last on this one, please. Those were not two-piece models. Yeah, and they were fine, whatever. And then they just went into Dystopian Legions and Dystopian Wars and, all that. Then they did Planetfall, and they got the Halo license. And that Halo game was hot, and then it was not.
Well, it was hot, and then there was no restock. Like, people wanted to get more of it, but it wasn't available, so then the interest died.
Well, and that's always the problem with Spartan, was they had zero support for anything. Zero fan support, zero store support, zero distributor support, nothing.
We tried to get more Halo. We couldn't, so people stopped asking, because that's what happens. Like, if you don't stock your game, it goes away.
Yeah.
Like the only industry, or the only facet of the industry that can get away with that is specifically board games, because board games don't require repeated purchases and new blood to sustain themselves. Like, Twilight Imperium's never going to go away, because it's just Twilight Imperium. Like, if you don't have...
New edition coming out.
Right, but if you don't have Twilight Imperium, you're not going to have some guy go like, well, I guess I'll never play Twilight Imperium. Like, that's not going to happen.
Well, the funny thing, I was talking to a listener at Con, they're like, oh, you should talk about the Twilight Imperium. I'm like, why? It's just a new edition of Twilight Imperium. There's nothing really to be said about it.
They put a 4 at the end of it.
Yeah, it's there's nothing nothing changing dramatically.
No, there's going to be a 4.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Duh.
They're
probably going to do some balancing.
Well, they'll be like, that's what you do in every new edition.
Yeah.
It's not like Twilight Imperium with new hat.
Yeah, I'd imagine some of the
lion guy's got a new hat on.
Some of the races need to be adjusted in balance.
Yeah, I mean, it's not like they were unbalanced completely.
No, they weren't bad.
I'm sure there's that one guy out there who plays Twilight Imperium every week who's like, no!
Well, the
turtle people suck!
I think the problem with board games like Twilight Imperium is they get solved. And once they're solved, like, there's no real entertainment value left. Like Axis and Allies. The reason you have so many versions and editions of Axis and Allies is because if you play the original Axis and Allies, there is a definitive opening move for every army.
Yeah.
Like, if you don't know those moves, you'll lose. Like, you'll flat out lose because the other guy will do the moves.
Unless all the players don't know the moves.
Right. If no one knows what's going on, then you're fine. But if you're playing with 4 people, 3 know the moves, 1 doesn't, that one dude...
Dead.
He's gone. He's
dead.
Totally gone.
What army you playing? Belgium. Dead.
Yeah, you're dead. So
you're dead.
And I think that's a problem with games like Twilight Imperium. Is like there's always like, this is optimal. Like, this is what you do. And once you learn that, it kind of not defeats the purpose of the game, but it's kind of like, oh,
you'll be a fun game like Axis and Allies, but completely where you don't play any of the big 4. Like, you don't play U.S., Britain, Russia, or Germany.
You just play, like, smaller countries?
Well, yeah, and then you, like, say, like, you might change the outcome of, like okay, so you're going to play Mexico, you're going to play Portugal, you're going to play, I don't know.
Guam.
Guam. You're going to, you'll play, I don't know, Brazil, and you'll play Argentina. And then you all kind of, like, play around in World War II as those countries to try and, like, change the balance of the war. So, like, every turn... the normal World War II stuff is happening, and you're just trying to play along and see how you can affect the outcomes of that. I don't know. That's it. interesting idea,
be
to say the
interesting.
least. But you'd have to play as dirty Brazilians, so I don't know if you want to deal with that.
They do have those cheese balls.
A lot of countries have cheese balls, Steve.
Yeah, but nobody has the Brazilian cheese balls.
Nobody
except,
has the Brazilian cheese
except
balls.
Brazil.
Or Brazil nuts.
Wait. Brazil, number one. Wait. Brazil.
Oh, that's right. They do the HUE thing
Yeah.
on the inner tubes. Oh, speaking of, yeah, you don't know what that hee thing is. That H3 is it's a hee.
H3H3. He's some YouTube guy who like does videos and shit, and he got sued.
God, Reddit fucking loves that guy, and I'm
Well,
like, I don't understand.
He does like parodies and like makes fun of people or shit. He's just like a fucking YouTube prank guy.
Yeah.
But whatever. He got sued by someone on YouTube for using their clip
Yeah.
like in his video.
Oh, okay.
But he won the case because it was fair use.
Oh, okay. Well, I mean, that sounds like fair use.
So that
Yeah.
but the thing is that case was super important to people who do stuff on YouTube because it was gonna set the precedent. And now the precedent YouTube is like the rest of the fucking world, and fair use exists on YouTube, which, believe it or not, is a huge issue because YouTube, there's crazy copyright claims that fly all around YouTube. I don't know if the copyright trolls are still a huge thing, but man, there's a couple YouTubers I watch, the smaller guys, and the smaller guys are a lot more interesting than the bigger guys because the bigger guys, they don't ever talk behind the scenes because they have their money machine and like that's just what they're doing.
Yeah.
The smaller guys, they'll give you the details. They'll be like, you know, like I watch one guy, John Wolf, and like he talks about this shit, and he's the only YouTuber that I know of who does. He's like, this is why the analytics are the way they are. This is why you see the videos the way they are. And he's like, the reason YouTube is covered in like this shit. Like he explains everything, and none of the other YouTubers do that. And it's so weird to see how the internet landscape of YouTube changes every time YouTube tweaks their little algorithm. Like they do one tiny little tweak, and suddenly like. It's like, do you remember the Reply Girls phenomenon of like a few years ago?
Yeah.
Right. Well, that was because the Reply Girls were taking complete advantage of the way the algorithm was. And then YouTube tweaked it to kill the Reply Girl phenomenon. And when doing that, they also killed independent animators on YouTube. Because independent animators' videos were of the same kind of length of time that the cam girl reply girls were. Like an animated video of like 5 minutes takes you months to make if you're doing it by yourself.
Yeah.
And that could produce a sustainable revenue for an animator if they on that old algorithm, because it didn't matter that they put out one video every few months, because the way the algorithm worked, their video would get popular, get millions of views, they would create income, they could then animate their next video like living off the income from their hit animation. But because when the way YouTube tweaked the algorithm to kill the cam girls, the animated style, the 2-minute video, no longer became a viable
source
medium.
of income. Yeah.
So all of the independent animators that were making money and like doing quality animations on YouTube, gone. They're all gone. They can't do it anymore. Like most of them switched to like Twitch Creative or like another thing. They just stream art. They do different stuff, and some of them still put up their videos, but it's nothing like it used to be. Now, if you see any animators on YouTube, they're always really short, like animations of other things. Like there's no original content. It's all like I'm animating a 2-minute segment of Markiplier or some shit, and like that's all the animators on YouTube are doing now.
I'm not kind of sad. At the same time, I think YouTube is a cesspool of awfulness.
Well, that's the thing that's funny about it, is it like what changes it each time? Like right now, there's I think
what changes it from awful is just more awful.
There's the big thing now is the kid videos are like everywhere.
Oh yeah. Well, my daughter watches all those.
They're everywhere. Like this is new. Like if you go on like the trending, like it's a fucking nightmare of like just like those weird like Spider-Man and Elsa videos like are fucking everywhere right now. So whatever the recent algorithm switch has made those videos the primary thing of
I mean like I've watched a couple of them because my daughter really likes them, and it just to see these grown-ass women, like they go out and they buy a Disney dress and they just go up there and they make a video, and it's ridiculous. Like some of them, like the weirder ones, is like there's this one that my daughter really likes named Tiffany Bliss. I don't know if you ever heard of this. She basically has a baby alive. You know, the ones that eats and poops.
Yeah.
And so what
those things are creepy. They used to eat little girls' hair.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, they changed that now, so it's a little different.
Okay,
but it's because they're back again. But she takes Play-Doh and shapes it into things that are related to, let's say, Pokemon. So
Okay.
she'll have like a little Pokemon ball, and then she'll feed it to the baby alive, and then she'll check the
weird.
baby alive's diaper, and it's a blind bag that's in like an egg that the baby poops out. And so she takes it out, and then she opens it up. It's like a Pokemon blind bag, and she says, "Oh,
man,
look what's
she
inside."
must be making so much goddamn money.
I don't know.
She is making fucking a fortune. I guarantee it.
I don't know. Maybe, but
Just look at the views.
Yeah.
I guarantee she's making a fortune. Though that's the thing. The reason there's so many of those videos is because I believe they're the most profitable thing on YouTube currently.
Yeah. Well, and then they'll do. Well, that's because, like me, most parents are incredibly lazy and are just like, "Fuck it. Here's my iPad. Here's my phone. Just watch some YouTube." Like, and that's the thing is, like, people complain about kids with screens. Like, "Oh, you should have gave your kids screens." I'm like, do you know how kids act when they don't have screens in front of them? They are nightmares. Like, every time that some
Oh yeah, kids are the worst.
some like 30 or mid 20-year-old person goes like, "Ugh, I can't believe there's this child in this restaurant." I'm like, first of all,
Dude, when a kid's got a screen, I'm always like, look at their parents. I'm just like, you're doing good.
well, I mean,
When they don't have a screen, they're fucking screaming, throwing shit, being obnoxious. If you put a screen in front of them and they're silent, you're doing the world a favor.
yeah, well, that's exactly it. I mean, they're not always screaming, but I mean, they're just like, the thing is as a parent, you constantly, I just don't know how our parents did it. Mostly they just hit us, but
I think it's just different kids are weird. Like there's
Yeah.
sometimes I'll meet a little kid and I'm just like, what are you? Like they're really polite and they're like yes, no, they're eloquent for their age, and it's just like, where are you from?
yeah.
And then other times they're just like frothing little shit monsters
Yeah.
with shit all over their hands, like literal poop.
Yeah.
And it's just like, what are you?
I mean, I've seen some pretty awful children in my day, and so like my son is getting to that awful stage where I'm just like, I just want to shake him and be like, act like your sister.
Shake him like a British nanny.
Yeah, shake him like a British name. Au pair.
Up here.
But anyway, so we got far off the fucking realm there.
Well, it's just YouTube's weird. That's all.
Yeah, YouTube is weird. But anyway, Spartan Games dead.
Yes.
They're going to liquidate all of their property. The people who backed them on their latest Kickstarter, which we talked about not
I
too long
believe
ago,
they're hosed.
They are hosed.
Yes.
Yeah, they are SOL, and that's not Stuff of Legends. They are shit out of luck. That's an old timey internet. Remember Stuff of Legends?
Yeah.
I think
That's a
they're
long
still
time
around.
ago. Yeah, they're still around.
Yeah. I used to. Well, that's what you used to use before they had digitized copies of the 2004
Games Workshop catalog.
Yeah, you have to go to Stuff of Legends to figure
right.
out if you had anything of
Like,
worth.
is this thing valuable? It's like, ooh, this is a rare out of print Rail Partha. And
yeah.
Tor Gaming.
But Tor Gaming had like what? What was the name of that stupid
Relics.
game? Relics. And it was like,
they were around for like 15 years.
yeah, but I mean, stuff wasn't that great.
I mean, they're both UK miniature studios and
Yeah.
they're both closing. Cause
Yeah, well, I guess Spartan is a little more, I should say, a little more visible in the U.S. than Tor was.
Yeah.
Tor, the only time you ever saw Tor stuff was, you never saw it.
Yeah, no, you
Spartan, generally, game stores would carry Spartan.
Yeah.
If they didn't carry,
I know some people who used relics for like random random functions where like that was what people used relic stuff for. Like there was like summons, things like that. I've seen some people use them for like D&D, just like random stuff. But it just the miniatures market is crowded. Like
Yeah.
it is a crowded industry.
yeah, there needs to be a culling.
I mean, it's happening.
Yeah.
It's like the culling is automatic. That's the thing with when you're talking money. It's just companies
Well,
are going to fade by themselves.
I mean, it's going to be.
Privateer's next. That's my call. My call is that the big shakeup that's going to happen is Privateer Press is going to close its doors.
Malifaux will be dead first.
Oh yeah, well I mean that's not a big
I'm going
shakeup.
to talk a little bit about that when I talk
Actually,
about Gen Con.
I'm interested to know if Malifaux is because the interesting thing about Malifaux, I wonder if they would downsize before they closed, because if you remember Malifaux, like we've talked about it before, but like they started as just a company making random ass miniatures. They were just weird miniatures. That was the whole thing. And at some point they were like, we should make a game using our random fucking miniatures.
Yeah.
So maybe that's
And then they were like, maybe we should do CAD sculpted figures and ruin our aesthetic completely.
their aesthetic was already random.
I know,
and their
but
aesthetic
no.
continues to be random.
But CAD ruined the aesthetic. They used to be like really not my cup of tea, but very well sculpted minis that were interesting. CAD just made them flat and boring.
That round, that like round flat surface thing that CAD minis have. You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, you know what I'm talking about.
You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I'll talk a little bit about Privateer when I talk about Gen Con.
But I'd be interested to know what their direct sales look like.
Yeah. No, my feeling is Malifaux goes next. My feeling is right now, and we talked about this a little bit on the last cast, 8th edition 40K is going to revitalize 40K. It's going to go back on top, and it's going to smush down a lot. It's going to eat up a huge amount of player base because people who have been spending a lot of time playing other games are going to be pulled back, right? So you're going to have I've seen it personally myself. I've already seen it. Bolt action's getting cannibalized. A lot of people are going back to 40K.
Bataction.
Bataction. I'm going to talk about Fantasy Flight with their Star Wars game about how like dumb it is to open up against 8th edition 40K. But you see it with a lot of other games like that. So the next big thing, and did we talk about this in the last cast? Necromunda?
No.
We did not talk about the Necromunda. Necromunda's coming out, a re-release of it, with multi-part plastic kits that are, you could add whatever you want. It's going back to old school style. Mm-hmm. Is that going to kill something like Infinity?
Yeah, I don't know. Well, I don't think so. Like, I think the thing that's going to kill something like Infinity would be Shadespire. I think Shadespire.
I'll get into Shadespire.
I think Shadespire is going to be fucking huge. I was getting all the.
So let's get into this. So Shadespire's coming out. We talked about this in the last cast. I actually played some Shadespire at Gen Con. I personally didn't like it. I thought it was too gamey. It didn't have a lot of like feel to it. Like it didn't feel like a minis game. It felt like a card game. Now that could be a positive for a lot of people.
I believe that's. I was just about to say. I saw someone gave me the full rundown of how that game works, like top to bottom, because they also played a demo. Because I was asking them all the details. Because of what they're trying to do with Shadespire, I think that is optimal because they're directly going after X-Wing with Shadespire.
That's exactly it.
That is what they're going after, and everything you described sounds like the perfect setup to challenge a game like X-Wing, because X-Wing also is a very gamey game that has no Star Wars feel to it whatsoever.
Nope.
At all. It's just you can use any that just goes to show all of the games that use that engine. There's a shit ton of them.
Yeah,
they use the same engine.
It's the Wings of War engine.
It's the Wings of War. Fucking their mass combat fantasy game uses that engine. Rune Wars uses the X-Wing engine. So there's nothing that feels Star Wars about the way that game handles.
Yeah, and that's exactly my problem with Shadespire. And I'm not saying it's a bad game. It's actually a pretty good game. Like I give it 2 thumbs up in terms of
being a game.
Being a game. Yes, it is a well thought out game. However, it's way too gamey for me. Like I'm like, this is not a beer and pretzels game. This is a seriously bring your deck to the game, or else you're going to get spanked.
Which is exactly what they want. They want to make a competitive, tournament ready, like show up on Saturday to play in this 16-man tournament with prizes game.
Yes, and it's a fairly quick game.
That's the other thing he said. It's a 2 out of 3 is viable for tournament format.
Yeah,
like that's fucking insane.
Yeah, and like I think my game, it was only like a 30-minute demo, but we pretty much almost finished in 30 minutes. I mean, it's like I'd say it's about a 45-minute to an hour game, especially if both players know what they're doing.
Sure.
So I mean, like for me, it was like the person was doing the typical GW letting me win, and the deck was pre-built and everything like that. But yeah, that's the bigger issue for me is that it does not feel like a GW game. It feels X-Wing is a really good example. It just feels super gamey. I don't think it'll be as big as you think it is.
I think it's the best chance they have at handling a game like X-Wing.
Yes, I could see that.
Because there's a lot of people I know personally who don't want to get into X-Wing because various reasons, but they do really like games like Age of Sigmar. Like they're like, oh, dude, that's so cool. Like a lot of guys who play Magic right now, they're like, man, dude, I love 40K and I loved Warhammer and stuff, but I just don't have the time to paint an army and like get in all that stuff. So I think they could possibly be captured by Shadespire.
Yeah, I mean, like when you only need 3 Sigmarines to play, it's like why not?
Yes.
Yeah, I think there's some of the
as long as the OP is as long as the organized play is as solid and as well supported as it sounds like the game is designed to be for that function, I believe that it's going to be successful.
Yeah, I think they just need a lot of play testing to make sure everything's balanced. I think you get one or two wrenches thrown into the gears where it's all of a sudden like, well, the Sigmarines are the best army, so everyone's going to be playing this deck for the Sigmarines, and they don't either come up with new cards or new figures that are counterbalanced whatever's going on.
I mean, they'll probably need if the cards are as important as it sounded like they're probably going to end up needing to do like a banned and restricted list for the cards.
Yeah,
just like Magic, know, and that's totally fine. Like that is a as Magic the Gathering proves, that is a viable way to run your game.
Yeah, as I say, I wasn't a huge fan of it, but then again, you know me, I got 1 foot in historicals, 1 foot in fantasy.
Yeah.
It's like
that game is you are not their target audience.
No, I am not their target audience.
But for someone like me, like I would be their target audience for Shadespire.
Oh, absolutely. Like I was over at Games Workshop store, and I was talking with the manager, and he's like, "So what do you think of Shadespire?" And I was like, I hate it." He goes, "You haven't liked anything Games Workshop's produced since 2006." And I go, "Damn straight." Yeah. But anyway, so I'll just get into. We had Gen Con last weekend.
Gen Con.
Did
you get your copy of L5R?
No. L5R. Did you see what they did?
They sold a shit ton of them.
Well, yeah, they sold a shit ton. Well, of course they did, because that place was jam packed to the gills.
Yeah, it sounded. I was looking at the pictures and I was just like, that looks like a wide awake nightmare.
Friday was actually the worst day. Surprisingly, by Saturday, the floor was much more open and wasn't anywhere near as bad as Friday. Saturday was nice. It was calm. I think that's because Saturday was a lot more of a play day, so people have like shit that they're planning to do.
They were in their spot.
Yeah, they're in their spot. So Friday was more of
walking around and fucking around.
Yeah. But anyway, so Gen Con, L5R, yeah, they sold out of that, but they had like all of these Japanese people in full samurai outfit walking down the street with the flags, and then they went to the sushi restaurant. I'm like, this is so unbelievably racist. How is they going to go away with it? I guess I don't know.
That's kind of funny.
It's like, I'm sure there's some weeaboos who really are enjoying this right now. Where's the Unicorn Clan?
If they're true weeaboos, they would never play L5R because it's made by Gaijin dogs.
Oh, that's true too. Yes. It's called hentai, and it's art.
That's right. It's art, Dad. Art. Did you follow the Twitter drama of the guy discovering tentacle porn and showing it to his wife?
No.
Oh man, it's fucking great. He's like, I was just trying to show them the tentacle porn was a real thing.
There you go. But that exhibit that I was telling you about was fucking fantastic. The one that's at the Contemporary Art Museum. Why can't I think the octopus eats its own leg? Why can't I think of his name right now? But it was amazing. I got there. I'm not normally one to buy like prints and stuff like that, but I actually bought a print from there because I was so impressed with the artwork there.
That's sweet.
It's a great mixture of like a manga style mixed in with like pop art mixed in with graffiti.
Cool.
It's really cool. I highly recommend it.
The one print I want, there's you know the Fisherman's Wife, of course, yes.
Yeah.
But there's one just that's just called The Fisherman, and it's a dude fucking an octopus, and I want that one.
The Fisherman. Yeah. So anyway, Gen Con. Friday was fucking insane. I walked in there. I got there early too. I was there in the hall at 9:15. Place was jam packed with people.
Oh yeah, I saw that. It was awful.
You couldn't walk anywhere in there.
How was the stank level?
Stink level wasn't bad, but it's all like normies now. I can't handle it.
Gen Con has been taken over by the normies.
I'm like, whee! Throughout the entire thing.
You're just sitting in the corner, fucking clapping your hands. I want to go back to the blue room.
But overall, it wasn't bad. It did, like, we talked about this, and I had a theory that they were holding reserve tickets. Nope. It was sold out.
Yep.
Like, they were not letting anybody in. I know Comic-Con in San Diego is going to RFID tickets next year.
That's interesting.
Or either next year or the year after.
Please use the term riffid.
Riffid? Just because they want to combat counterfeit ticketing. Gen Con might do the same soon. I mean, if they can't...
I know you've counterfeited some tickets to Gen Con before.
Never Gen Con.
No?
No.
Well, other cons?
Yeah, lots of other cons, yes.
Okay, very good.
Other cons that are ridiculously expensive for what they're asking me to provide, like what they're providing me.
Very good.
Like there's a level of like Gen Con is one of those things that if you buy a 4-day ticket, it's worth it. If you buy a 1-day ticket, it is not worth it. Because you can't do anything. You're going there just for the sales floor.
Right.
So if you're going there just for the sales floor...
there's no sales at Gen Con. Like, there's no discounts. Everyone's selling it at max price.
Yeah. Max price.
Max price.
Well, there's some deals. You can get some deals when you're there, but it's nothing that you can't get, like, online.
Yeah.
You go there more to see, like, what's coming up, what's new. And one of the things is Fantasy Flight debuted Star Wars Legion.
That looks like such trash.
Oh, my God. Fuck everybody who wants that game. So many people...
Oh, no. See, that's the thing. They're gonna buy it, and it's gonna fucking never get played.
It's never going to get played. Idiots, listen to me. If you're thinking about this game, I had to explain this to my Star Wars nerd friend who's really into Star Wars. I've talked about him on the cast before. I was like, Imperial Assault, pretty good board game. It's not bad. It plays a lot more like Star Wars than, let's say, this piece of trash. Because first of all, Fantasy Flight's an asshole for rescaling their
Upping the
figures.
scale, I saw that.
Fuck them. Oh, my God. Because one of the coolest things about Imperial Assault is that a lot of the character figures that you're playing for, like, let's say, Rebels, are very unique and interesting. And that would be great to transfer over. I mean, you have a built-in fucking audience already, Fantasy Flight. What the fuck is wrong with you?
They want more money.
Well, even still, though. So you already have a built-in audience for a lot of that. They're screwing it over. They're like, no, we're upping the scale of the figures. The figures are not bad sculpts. They're actually pretty decent sculpts. Yeah. But why would anybody in their right mind want to play and there are only 2 factions. We've explained this before. Fantasy Flight likes to pretend like there are extra factions in Star Wars. There's not. There's 2 factions. You have Rebels and you have Imperials.
The only way to break that is to go prequel, because you could do Clone Army and Droid Army.
Yes. But that is
so you can finally have droidicas versus stormtroopers.
So it's treason then. Oh my God!
But I need to know who will win in a duel: Count Dooku or Darth Vader.
It's so bad, and like it's like, oh, but you get you get this type of stormtrooper, and you also get scout troopers. Oh,
snow troopers though.
So I get to paint different
whites.
Not even different whites, just different sculpts. White.
Yes.
Like, don't get me wrong.
Well, no, you could technically start from Xandri Dust to do Sand Troopers, because they're gonna have a bit more of a tan tint.
Xandri Dust is my stripper name, by the way.
It's a good stripper name. Mine's Retributor Armor.
Retributor. Now, coming to the stage, Xandri Dust. Let's give it up for Xandri Dust. Remember, ladies and gentlemen, we got this bar open all night long.
Shrimp cocktails, $5 for the next 45 minutes.
Oh, my God.
And there she is now, Xandri Dust. Boom, 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 boom.
What was that?
I don't know. That was the start of a riff. Could have gone into Rocky Like a Hurricane. Could have gone into Bad for Michael Jackson.
No, they won't. The strippers don't do that. They do a little.
Boom, 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 boom.
It would be more. It would be more like my stripper song would be like, "I kissed a girl."
No way. Your stripper song would totally be fucking Pour Some Sugar on Me.
Well, it's true, but I mean,
it's hot, sticky sweet. That song is fucking gross. I hate that song.
Pour some sugar on
That song is awful.
For the name of love. No, mine would probably be like some Katy Perry.
Mine would be Michael McDonald. I can't fucking think of love anymore. It's never gonna be the same.
Worst stripper ever. So yeah, the Star Wars. It's an awful buy. It's going to cost you $120 for the box set, if not more. It might cost up to $150 for that box set. The sculpts are fine. If you like Star Wars minis and would like to have some painted Star Wars minis on your shelf that you're never going to play in a game because the rule set is fucking terrible.
Could use them for role playing.
You could use them for role playing. But the Star Wars role playing game doesn't really work well with me.
You just use the West End game one.
Well, okay, if we're gonna go that, yeah.
Just use a good Star Wars role playing rule set, or collect the old D20 Star Wars books. That was a good system.
Yeah, the D20. Well, the West End was D20.
No, West End was D6.
Oh, D6. Yes.
Yeah,
the
D20 was the
Coast. Yes.
Yeah. They were the one. They introduced the Vitality hit point system, which I thought was really cool.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's an awful system, and they're using some bastardized form of the Rune Wars.
Oh yeah,
system.
And there's tons of like tokens and all sorts of shit.
It's Fantasy Flight up the ass, and it's like, I think one of our listeners said it best, is like, this is going to debut after Adepticon, and then Rune Wars will be dead.
Yes.
So that's exactly what it is. It's going to be their big push. I told my buddy, I said, this is going to last a year and a half. That's all there's no support for this game.
Yeah, no way.
You could come up with different stuff, but the rate at which people want shit for their games does not fit with a mini system.
Yeah.
Like I was trying to explain this. When you have an army-based game, you can't release like unit every 3 months. People do not like to play the game that way.
Yeah.
They want to have their army straight off the bat, and they want to play their whole army complete.
Yeah, the only way that works is if you have a game like Arena Rex style, where it's like we're at.
Yeah, but Arena Rex is an army based.
Right. Well, I mean,
Yeah.
that style of like it's one new thing to add to your already complete faction. You know.
Yeah.
Like the armies are done, but you can add options.
Yeah. The
But like in this Legion game, it's like, oh, you want AT-ATs? Yeah, you're gonna have to wait like 2 years for that.
yeah, they're never going to release AT-ATs.
But you know what I mean.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. Like, yeah, you're going to have to wait 2 years for that. So it's like, oh, I'd like to make a Hoth army. Well, we don't have plans on releasing Hoth till 2019, and it's going to be over the course of 8 months.
Yeah.
You're going to get all your Hoth figures.
Yeah, because they're going to release the first snow. The first wave is going to have just snow troopers and the rebel snow guys.
Yeah.
and that's it. If you want,
Oh no! It's going to come with an E-Web blaster.
No, the E-Web blaster's later. That's a separate thing.
Well, that would be the one thing that they would add to there. Like, you get Darth Vader, 2 units of snow troopers, and an E-Web blaster.
And what about that weird fucking radar dish thing?
the booby gun? Could they release the booby gun?
Well, not the booby gun.
Well, what
There
do
is
they call
the
it?
booby
What
gun.
do they call it on Family Guy? The boob nipple gun.
The booby nipple gun. Pew, pew, pew. No, there's that one that looks like a satellite dish. And it's like the guy's like in that little tower, and it looks like a satellite dish, and it shoots lasers.
Yeah, blazers. Yeah,
Lasers,
exactly.
Asers, tasers.
I always laugh at the Family Guy Star Wars, especially the Empire one, because there's a line reading in that episode that reminds me so much of Pat B, where it's like, well, this will be fine as long as there are no giant robot camels. And the guy goes, hey, look, giant robot camels. And it's like just like how Pat B says it, and it's perfect. Perfect.
Did Pat B guest star on that episode, perhaps?
Maybe. Might have. He does
not tell us?
look like someone who'd be like in a Rebel snowtrooper outfit, doesn't?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. He's got the really clean cut beard somehow.
Yeah, like the 1970s. He's got like a 70s beard.
Yeah, he's got a 70s beard.
Yeah.
I mean, not that Pat's beard is somehow clean, but like the Rebel Troopers having clean cut beards makes no sense because
Yeah.
they've like were isolated in the fucking whatever.
That's the only thing that Rogue One really got well was how dirty everything
Yeah,
looked.
everyone looked shitty because
Yeah.
it makes sense.
Yeah.
Like it's like, oh, why do you look so shitty? I don't know. I've been flying in a fucking tin can through space for 6 months.
I mean, I'm one of those guys who likes my Star Wars to be a little bit more on the fantastic side, where it's like I like my rebels to be like heroic rebels. I don't like my rebels to be like morally gray. I'm like, I don't watch Star Wars for that. That's not. Yeah. I want my guys to be heroes, and so like
Pop Tarts are also a sandwich. Sandwiches have bread, Anakin.
exactly. Anyway,
Don't do it, Anakin. I have the high ground.
speaking, you mentioned Arena Rex. I hung out with the Arena Rex guys. I forgot to bring your stuff. Damn it. Really enjoyed that stuff. They're great as always. The thing I love about Arena Rex guys, Nick and all those guys, is that they will listen to my batshit insane like ideas,
Your nonsense.
my nonsense, and they'll like be like, oh, all right, that's actually sounds cool. But I mean, like, so maybe like I was saying, like.
The only request the only specific request I'll ever make of them is I want a giant minotaur with a huge dick.
Well, we were talking about that. Like, he was talking about doing like a Greco-Roman wrestler, and he was like trying to figure out what to do with the penis for it. And I said, what you do is you make it a huge penis and you have it strapped to his leg.
Make it like a bull dick. Like I want him to have a bull head and a bull dick. Like give him a big muscular body, a bull's cock, and a bull head. That's what I want. That's what I want the minotaur to be. And I want feet. I don't want hooves. Like that's the thing. Like a lot of people prefer the hooves things for minotaurs. Me personally, I like the big oversized feet.
Okay.
And I like.
I've learned something new about you.
I like the big oversized feet, but I like their like toes to be fucking really gnarly. Like a kind of like a halfway between like a hoof and a foot.
Yeah.
Like that's where you want it to be. That's what I like when like my minotaurs.
The funny thing is like what's it called? Gen Con always like they're like forward your podcast to us so that we can promote it. I'm like,
yeah, do it.
no,
Minotaur dick.
I want to get invited back. What else? Not a
Minotaur dick and horse pussy.
I'm trying to think about what else was like announced that they that game from Cool Mini, the Hate. They were
Hate, yeah. The one that just looks like a Chaos Army.
Yeah.
It just straight like I saw those minis and I was like, Is Forge World doing a Chaos Army? And I looked and I was like, oh.
Isn't it from Adrian Nelson?
I think so.
Yeah, he did all the great Warhammer artwork of the 2000s.
Yeah, and it straight up is like, well, I guess you have a really good counts as Chaos Army if you take that thing.
Yeah. Not that even matters anymore. Games Workshop actually had a decent appearance there. Like they had the Forge World, of course, but they had like full on Games of Shadespire.
Yeah,
like,
I mean they learned. They actually learned, like, if you want to push new games, you need to be at Gen Con.
Well, holy crap! Like let me get into one thing that pissed me off was the Gen Con painting competition. Oh my God, was this the worst painting competition I've ever
Did you say
entered?
it was random ass categories?
It was okay. So last year and the year before that, here were the painting categories, Steve. And tell me if this makes sense: single unit and single model, unit, large monster or large model, war machine, sculpting, bust, diorama, and new blood. Right? Those are all
sounds
standard.
Pretty standard
painting. This year, they decided to they have a category called painter.
Is that
Steve, tell me what the painter means.
The only thing I could think of is that's a 2-dimensional painted artwork.
Yeah.
Is that it?
No, it was not it. Not it at all. It was painter was one of the categories. Then they had...
And it's not 2-dimensional painting?
No. And then it was ordnance.
That's heavy artillery?
What the fuck does that even mean?
Why would, like, a tank?
Yeah. Like, then they had unit. Makes sense, of course. And they had sculpting.
Unit checks out.
Yeah. They had young blood. They had diorama. But, like, the only two categories they had that were, like... the three categories were painter, unit, and ordnance.
Ordnance.
Not even large model. Ordnance.
It's odd.
Okay. So that's fine. Now, one of the things that
Did you enter the ordnance category?
No, because I thought it was all the old categories, so I had everything painted up to like unit, large model, war machine, and single. Like that's the standard, right? Whatever. So I was like, okay, whatever. I'm already here. They jacked up the price to double this year, so it was $4 an entry instead of $2 an entry. Whatever. I don't care. I kind of wanted. I'm there. I'm going to enter a painting competition. However it goes. But the way that it used to be was that you entered by Friday night, and then they would judge and have the winners in the cases on Saturday morning, so that you could see who won and take pictures of who won and whatever else have you. No, they had to have a big ceremony where they announced the winners.
Ooh, a ceremony.
Yes, it's Saturday at 6:00 in the evening.
Ooh.
So
how prestigious.
So everybody who wanted to leave, who had to leave on Saturday, you couldn't enter the painting competition because they wouldn't let you.
Nice. Cuts
leave.
down on the competitors.
Yeah. So I mean, it's like it's fucking stupid. They had 4 judges. Now what they did was they gave. Well, I'll get in. Let me get back into that one a little bit later. So they announced all the winners. They don't have any of the winner sheets, like the scores tabulated. So they're going all over the place, like randomly all over the place. Pretty much everybody who entered won a medal for something or other. It was like they had like bronze, silver, and gold. Now you think that would be 3rd, 2nd, 1st? No, you got bronze level. I'm like, oh, okay.
So they had a trophy for first cut when they just made first cut pins.
And that's what I'm saying. Like, why can't we just have 3? Why can't we just do 3?
Well, you usually get a token for first cut.
Well, or something like that. Yeah, but I mean, just like let's have 3: 3rd, 2nd, 1st place. Please, people, this is not difficult. This has been since the dawn of miniature painting. They have had these categories. Let's just go with it, please. So they screw that up. They when they release your figures to you, they give you all of your scores. Never give a person their scores ever. Because I'm looking at it and I'm like, okay, that's nice. So 4 people judged. My scores were all over the fucking place, which just goes to show you that they had 4 people judging who had no concept of what they were looking for. Like when one person gives your appearance an 8 and the other person gives your appearance a 4, you're like, well, what the fuck? Like, if they gave me all 4s, Steve, I'd be like, okay.
Well, that means that they had they would have a consistent
view.
Right.
Yeah. But when one person gives you an 8 and one person gives you a 4, you're just like, well, this is just random. Let's just make everything random.
Perhaps they were just rolling dice.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, what, did you use a random number generator? Perhaps a D10. Did you use a D10 to determine the scores?
Maybe they did.
Oh, my God. Now, you know me. I've entered many competitions and I've lost many competitions, so this does not bug me. Losing a competition does not bug me. But what bugs me is like when there's no consistency in it.
Well, also multiple judges is kind of weird. Like, it doesn't. Should just have one guy doing it.
Well, no, you can have...
Or a set standard, at least.
Well, yeah. I mean, that's fine. You could have multiple people judging or whatever else have you. Just don't give fucking people their scores.
Yeah, that's pretty bad.
Yeah, like, there was a notes section on the scores where some people would write notes. I'm like, that would be good to give the people. Like, if you just, like, had, like, a little tear-off section, like, here, these are some of the notes the judges had on your figures. Like, oh, okay, this is helpful.
Mine just says, quit the hobby.
It says, quit the hobby, Steve.
A little scribble of me giving a thumbs up.
It just says Meat-Crob.
Meat-Crob.
The dreaded Meat-Crob.
The dreaded Meat-Crob.
Yeah, so that just, it upset me to the level of, like, okay. Oh, and then on top of it...
You were incensed.
I was.
You sent me messages.
And then they took pictures of all the models. They have a Facebook group that they didn't publicize or anything about it. And they didn't put any of the fucking models on the Facebook group.
That's awesome.
I'm like, what the fuck? And like...
That's high-quality stuff.
Yeah, and they also had the bad thing of where it's like the same guy won like every category, which is... It's fair if if he's got the best scores or whatever else have you. But it's still at the same time makes everyone else who's entering the competition go like, oh, okay.
Well, I mean, that's an unfortunate thing about painting.
I'm not arguing.
When there's the best guy, he's the best guy.
Yeah. No, I get it.
I think it sounds like what they should have done is they should have done averages for the scores.
Well, they might have. And so what?
And if they handed you your average, you'd be like, oh, okay, I got a 6.5.
That would make a lot more sense.
Like,
yes.
Because then it wouldn't matter that if everyone's because I mean it's all
subjective.
Opinion. Yeah. It's a painting, so it's subjective.
Yeah.
It's
a painting.
Well, it is. It's a painting. The only thing that's not subjective
you
is
got a bronze medal in painters.
The only thing that's not
does that
subjective
mean?
about miniature painting is tidiness. Like thinness of the paint and tidiness are the only things that are 100% objective. Like does he have metal on his cloth? No. Your tidiness score, and tidiness is a yes or no. It's not like a how tidy are you. It's just like, is it yes, is it no? Like, where is the paint? Are the colors in the right fucking place?
Yeah.
And then thinness of the paint. Like, is your paint fucking clumped on? Those are objective. Everything else about it, like, do you like this model? Do you not like this model because you just don't like the color scheme? Because I've seen some really well painted models that have horrible color schemes. It's like, this thing is like neon orange and like puke green, and it's painted really well, but God, the colors are awful.
Well, my scale of painting generally goes from, like, at the top level, it's like, wow, look at this.
Yeah.
This is fucking awesome. Like, it's fucking awesome. Then it goes to, Like, that's pretty good. That's above average. I'm impressed. Then it's like, huh. And then it's like, ha! What?
And then top museum quality.
Top museum quality. Yeah. Oh God, I was incensed. And the thing is too is that I wasn't incensed for the reasons why you think someone would be incensed of it. I'm just like, this is just a piss poor like shit show of a painting competition. And they were like, well, let's give it up for this person who ran it all by himself. I'm like, you should have had like volunteers to help you out or something like that. You don't just take this all on, because Reaper didn't sponsor it this year, so I think that was the reason. Yeah,
that makes sense then.
Yeah. So I think that they got some room to learn how to do this stuff. On top of that, let's see what else. Oh yeah, 2 other painting competitions happened at Gen Con. The Privateer Press, of course, the P3 painting competition.
That one's got standard.
That one's got standard. There were no entries this year.
Oh really?
There was like, I don't know, maybe like 10 entries per category.
Ouch. That used to be one of the bigger competitions at Gen Con.
Yeah. I think there was a lot of things on top of that. One,
the star of Privateer Press is falling.
Well, it's not that I think part of the problem was that this competition has been going for a very, very long time. So I think that there are people who are established painters for the game who are like, it's one of these things where it's like you enter a painting competition, you kind of got to know that you're not going to win, or you might win. You'll have a chance of winning.
Right.
So,
well, it's entering anything. Like if you think you have no chance, like there's no reason to enter.
Yeah. Especially one where you don't get any feedback or anything.
Right, and it's not like other things like like a card tournament, like if you've like that's a different category. Like if you have no chance of winning a card tournament, you should still enter because the experience can be valuable.
Yes.
Like if you enter a painting competition and you just get fucking shredded, you don't learn anything.
No, you
like,
don't.
There's nothing to learn, nothing to gain.
So I mean, like with P3, after so many years of doing it, it's kind of like
you know the guys that are going to win.
Yeah. I mean, or at least you know that you're not going to win.
Right. Fair.
And also, Privateer Press was kind of a ghost town this year. Not a complete ghost. I mean, there were still a lot of people there and people buying the exclusives and stuff like that, but not as crazy as I've seen in the past. Pathfinder was the same way this year.
Starfinder was insane.
Yeah. Well, but I mean, Pathfinder is usually like super packed with people. Not this year. Like you could literally walk up and get anything you wanted at Paizo.
Yeah, they switched to Starfinder. That's the thing. At the Starfinder events at Gen Con sold out.
Well, those are the
instantly.
Those are the events. I'm talking the booth.
Oh, the booth. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, they sold out of Starfinder at Gen Con. Like that. Like so Fantasy Flight, their rush, their immediate sellout item was the L5R.
Yeah.
Fantasy or Paizo, Starfinder. They sold out of everything Starfinder. Everything was sold out at Gen Con in the same kind of like time frame, super fast.
I had a buddy.
So yeah, nobody cares about Pathfinder anymore. But Starfinder, they do. They care.
Then
Starfinder's super fucking hot, by the way. Like it can't, like no one can keep it in stock.
Soda Pop had their chibi painting competition, which I did not enter because I didn't have any chibi stuff.
You don't have any chibis.
I didn't have any stuff good enough.
Chibi dust
that I wanted to enter.
Chibi painting is actually pretty hard.
It is. I'm not. It's a skill.
It's a totally different mindset and skill set than from painting standard figures because you need to the eyes are super important. Like if you don't have a good anime aesthetic for your chibi eyes, the whole figure gets ruined.
Yeah. And the funny thing is that there's a lot of great tutorials on how to paint anime eyes on figures.
Oh sure.
I've seen some really good stuff. But to Soda Pop guys who are listening, I know there are a couple of them. Next year, if you're going to do this, make sure that the case is not in like the ass crack of your booth that no one can get to. Like they had it right across from the cash register, and that place is packed. So there was no it was almost impossible to see the figures. Like you got to put it out in a place where people can see it
for sure,
take pictures and all that stuff. So, have lots of room on there.
I love the Soda Pop guys.
Yeah, they're great. And but as I said, it's like Soda Pop is a little on my shit list because of how long their latest Kickstarter is taking.
I want to see more Super Dungeon Explorer.
It's almost a year over on the date.
Hey, I got that's you know what. I can't currently I'm begrudging literally everyone in the tabletop gaming industry because no one is able to produce enough stock, no one keeps enough stock, like no company is a standout.
Yeah.
I have no company that's currently producing and carrying their items to a sufficient quantity.
Yeah, they but Soda Pop was there. They had everything, going out. Soda Pop was actually just in the news because they partnered with Games Workshop for a card game.
Yeah, that seems pretty cool.
That's interesting to say the least. God, GW's making some weird moves lately.
I don't think it's weird because they ended their license with Fantasy Flight, so now their license is open, and I don't think they want another. I think to Games Workshop's benefit, they don't want to do another we're going to go exclusive with this one company because they signed arguably the best independent publisher for role playing games right now, Cubicle 7. They signed them to do the Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay.
By the way, 3rd edition, you could find so much 3rd edition with Rip for cheap. I got 7 modules for $5 a piece.
Yeah, it's not rare or expensive.
Yeah, but I mean for $5 a piece.
That's the third's dirt cheap. Like 2nd is expensive, and the
I found some 2nd that was extraordinarily cheap as well, but that was just because I was digging. But the 3rd, 7 modules for $5 a piece. I just sold them on eBay for $100 for this lot. Hey. So there you go.
But yeah, so and then they have a cool looking card game coming with Soda Pop, and then there's another game that was licensed, a Slayer based one or something. Dune Seeker.
That's the one for Soda Pop.
Is that the card game? Okay,
yeah.
There is another one that was announced that was from another company. I think maybe Catalyst.
Could be.
I don't know, but they're just outsourcing their license just like they do with their. They have the mobile games. There's a shit ton of Games Workshop mobile games.
Well, I think part of the reason why they got rid of the Fantasy Flight license is because of Fantasy Flights got bought up by Asmodee.
Oh yeah,
which has the exclusive licensing with what's it called, distributor. Why can't I think of it? Who's the Asmodee exclusive with?
Alliance.
Yes.
Yeah.
So they're exclusive with Alliance,
right.
Which GW is not exclusive with Alliance.
Correct.
So I think that could be part of it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure there's many factors, but one of the ones that for sure is just you have more versatility with your license because when they had the agreement with Fantasy Flight, it's well, we want a Games Workshop role-playing game. It's like, well, Fantasy Flight's the only one who can make it. So, like, if Fantasy Flight doesn't want to allocate the resources, you know what I mean? Like, they can't be picky and choosy. Now they can be picky and choosy.
Well, yeah, also, Fantasy Flight's 3rd edition was fucking terrible.
Well, because it got Fantasy Flighted. It had, like, super special dice,
and
tokens.
Cards.
By all accounts, the game was okay, but... Again, it's like, you want to play it? Well, okay, you need to learn this really weird, very specific rule set. Everything has special dice. Like, you have a special attack. You have to use these specific... Like, it's very gamey, which is, I think, the worst for a role-playing game. Like, I like gaminess in my competitive games, but in role-playing games, like, I'm total opposite.
Yeah.
The more gamey the role-playing game is, it's because it's like, when you go that route for a role-playing game, it's like, just make a board game.
Yeah.
Like, I designed a couple combat systems because I've been trying to do my own role-playing game for forever. Like, you know, something that I've been just always kicking around. And, like, I would design a combat system, I'd test it out and be like, this is a great combat system. And then I would scrap it because I'm like, it's not a role-playing combat system. Like, I did one with playing cards where... You would generate, like, your stats were the different suits. I won't get super deep into it, but, like, basically you use playing cards and then you could, like, redraw, and that was the skills. Like, you could, like, redraw, you could steal cards, and, like, it was very intuitive and very fun, and, like, everyone I tested it with said, this is really good. Like, this is a good system. But it's not a role-playing combat system; it's a game. Like, I made a little game instead of making a role-playing system because like, your character's actions didn't matter. Like, what you described didn't matter because it only mattered what you were doing with the card manipulation. So, like, if that's what you're doing, make it a board game. Don't make it a role-playing game.
Some things that I really liked this year at Gen Con, the Artists Alley kind of area was fucking the best it's been in years. Like, the amount of, like, great fantasy artists that were there. And I'm not talking like people who like, I drew a picture of a dragon. These are like really great fantasy artists who are there, like top museum quality. They were there, and it was that was really cool. The authors alley was a little on the weaker side, but you know, whatever. It needs more slash fiction authors there.
Yeah.
But yeah, the fantasy art section was
need more Minotaur's fucking centaur stories. That's what they needed.
That's what they needed. I really dug that. The food this year, mwah.
Which is just food trucks every year.
Oh,
it's the same thing, right?
It was so good. I had this one place, Steve. I wish I could remember the name of it, but they were doing bento bowls, right? Mm-hmm. I love bento bowls. Who doesn't love bento bowls, right?
Mm.
You know,
weirdos.
Yeah, or poke bowls. That's not bento bowls. Poke bowls. You know what I'm talking about? That's what they're called, poke bowls.
No.
Or, you know, it's just like sushi, but instead it's in bowl form instead of in, you know.
Right.
Yeah. So you get like your rice and your sauce and, you know, the toppings and then the fish or whatever. There was this one place. They did like a crab with pickles and like a really great like soy sauce and everything else on top of it. I went back. I literally got it, ate it, got back in line and got another one. I never do that, Steve. But it was so unbelievably good that I was like, no, this is
gotta have another one.
I gotta have another one.
All right, legit.
Yeah, legit. And there was Indianapolis has hot box pizza, which sounds way dirtier than it actually
doesn't
is.
sound good at all.
The pizza not so much. Like as I was walking with a bunch of.
I really only like Lou Malnati's pizza. Like other than that, I think pizza kind of sucks.
I'm kind of with you on that. But I mean, like
Lou Malnati's pizza.
Yeah, I love Lou Malnati's. I love their thin crust. I love their thick crust.
Yeah,
I love their deep dish.
Fuck yeah.
But there was I was walking with a bunch of Europeans, and they were like, "Where are the street signs? I don't see any street signs. How come there are no street signs in America?" And I'm like, "Dude."
Should be like, because this country's stupid,
no.
you idiot.
Well, I go, it all depends on where you're from and where you're going. Indianapolis is in Indiana, and they don't want to pay taxes, so they have zero civil infrastructure. Okay? You guys are from Europe. You guys pay a lot of taxes, street signs everywhere, because they need to do stuff with your taxes. Here, you just got to look for it. They're little tiny signs, because that's all they can afford. But they were like, oh, we love the pizza in America. They were talking about the pizza, like, here. I'm like, you guys got to go to Chicago. Like, the pizza here, it's trash. It's hot garbage in comparison.
Trash pizza.
However, Hot Box Pizza had a food truck, and it was like, they made cheeseburgers. That cheeseburger was one of the best fucking cheeseburgers I've ever had in my life. Like a fast food cheeseburger. Like, you walk up, you pay your $5, they give you a cheeseburger. Fucking unbelievably good. Usual stuff. Nerds are so fucking predictable when it comes to food trucks. So you'll see, like bacon truck. Like, there'll be a line fucking down the block for the bacon truck. Grilled cheese truck. Not grilled cheese.
Macaroni and cheese. Macaroni and cheese, grilled cheese. Those are huge lines.
Yeah. And it's like,
Of course they are.
And
And
then
they're
you have-
fucking nerds.
You'll have this little truck next to it which has like a crab cake slider, and there's like no line.
Sounds amazing.
Exactly. And I'm like, well, fuck this.
That's because nerds' palates have been completely destroyed by Mountain Dew and Doritos.
Yeah. I completely agree. I'm just like, you fools.
And Funyuns.
You fools. So I got to see some of the cool stuff. They actually had did I show you the pictures of the Japanese arcade that they had set up?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was pretty neat. That was a little like a hidden anime. It was literally, you go under the convention center. There's like a tunnel that leads from the convention center to Lucas Oil Stadium, where they have a lot of the role playing, the True Dungeon.
True
They
Dungeon,
had-
right. Mhm.
So they have that there, but there was like this little room tucked away there that was like, you paid $5, you got to play on all of these Japanese systems, and I was just like, nobody knows about this. This is amazing. Like,
Super cool.
yeah.
There's always some really solid anime content at Gen Con, but it's always like nice and hidden away, which is like one of the things I actually liked about Gen Con the most was like doing all the anime and like weeb stuff there, because it was low key, so it was like not like an anime convention, so you could actually get places. It wasn't super crowded because most people are there for games, so there's not a shit ton of people in the anime based stuff, which was sweet, and like that's ideal.
By the way, Arena Rex guys say that they want the next episode of Weeb Town.
All right, fine.
Yeah, you got to put it up.
All right, we'll get some more Weeb Town.
Yeah.
I got it. Well,
Who knew?
I bought a fucking recorder thing, but it only has one XLR jack. So
you
like,
got to get a splitter.
right, I need to get a splitter, but then I need to get another XLR because I bought these mics that are all lapel mics and they're sweet, but they just go to regular aux cables. So
Oh.
I can't do anything. I have the technology, but the technology is useless.
Yeah.
So I'm working on a solution. What I think I might do is I might just get a mic splitter and just plug the mics into the laptop directly and just record right onto the laptop.
That's how Anthony used to do it back when we did Planet Arbitrary.
I think that's what I'm going to end up doing. I'll just get a mic splitter and just fucking record directly on it. And what we'll do is we'll probably record 2 episodes of Weep Town, or maybe more. Just fucking go ham. And then there was another thing I was considering doing. If I can figure out how to... This is what I would really like to do, and if I can, I will. But I want to do this is I was kicking this idea around, but I don't know if I can set it up. But I'd love to set up me and Giuseppe playing some Weeby video games and just stream it on like Twitch or something, and just do Weeb Town while streaming. Upload that to YouTube, rip the audio, and then upload it as a podcast.
that would work.
That would be cool.
Yeah.
And like we could do stuff like, play just super degenerate Weeb games like Galgun and stuff.
You don't have. You could have made up any word, and I would have been like,
Galgun is a game. It's a first-person shooter like House of the Dead.
Galgan, take me away.
It's like a first-person shooter like House of the Dead or Time Crisis, except instead of shooting zombies or monsters, you're shooting at schoolgirls with an orgasm gun.
Ooh,
It's fucking awesome.
I am sold.
Yeah, it's really good.
What I'm trying to think of what else. Oh, I actually did some LARPing at Gen Con.
Nice.
I did Monster Dungeon. So I always lament that on the True Dungeon is there's no combat in True Dungeon. It's all just you go room to room solving a puzzle. Monster Dungeon was a little bit different. There was combat involved, so you had people dressed up as like goblins or orcs or coming out and like attacking
cool.
you. Yeah, I had fish. I had to fight fishmen.
Nice. That's badass.
Yeah, I was in full costume.
Did you seduce the fishman?
I did not seduce the fisherman.
See, that's the thing. Like, I would totally just be like, I make a seduction check. It's like, are you sure it's a minotaur? Yeah, it's a minotaur guy. Yeah, I do a seduction check.
Well, I don't think that the DM was quite ready for me, because I would go in there and I'd start talking to the monsters. I'd be like, "Hello, monsters," and they'd be like, "Well, there was this one room where we had orcs, and obviously, like, the orcs wanted to fight us, and I was like, "No, we don't want to fight. We just want to go past you." And I was trying to convince them to let us pass, and eventually they were just like, "Wow, we're gonna attack." But it was like, I don't think they were quite ready for like someone who actually wanted to role play.
Oh, you gotta have the chit chat.
Well, exactly, and I'm like,
I make out with the orc.
well, there was no rolling.
Take a roll. Take a roll.
Well, it was
20. You and the orc make out. You and the orc have a stable relationship. You and the orc both quit adventuring and marauding and raise a small family on the countryside. You have a lovely cottage and a great life.
Wow, someone rolled a 20. But yeah, and they had like it was a good foam swords and everything like that. I highly recommend it. That was real fun. It was only
I want
like,
to be a bard.
It was only like $15.
Oh, I could be Michael McDonald, the bard.
You could be.
Nice. Ain't no stopping us now.
Well, that's what I kept doing. Like I was a rogue. Like I told them, like I'm playing a rogue, and so I would like they'd have like treasures in the room, and the orc would be like, "Don't touch that." And I'd be like, just putting it in my pocket. And, like I could tell I was pissing the guy off because you're not supposed to take the treasure until after you defeat the orcs. I was just like taking the treasure, and I'd be like taking like candlesticks and stuff like that. And they're like, "That's not worth anything." I go, "I don't care."
It's worth something to me.
I was playing with this other guy who was playing like, I'm gonna be a warrior with like extra armor and blah blah
The
blah.
barbarian.
Yeah.
Look at the muscularity.
But he was this like little dude with a mustache, and I was like, this guy's hysterical. He's not saying anything.
That's awesome.
Yeah. But yeah, it was a good time. I'm probably gonna try again next year. I enjoyed it. I didn't quite The problem is that with my back is still not fully healed, so there was a lot of I wasn't expecting that much movement, so I left out of there like in a lot of pain. But I have painkillers, so that took care of it.
Nice.
Yeah.
Recreational painkillers.
A little bit. Well, I just went back to the doctor, and the doctor was like, "Okay, so you're healing a little bit more. You don't have to wear the brace anymore. Try not to walk with the cane. Try doing as much normal as possible. Here's a giant jug of painkillers. Here's a jug to help you deal with the side effects of the painkillers. And here's some muscle relaxers." I was like, "Fuck yes."
It sucks because he could just give you pot and it'd be fine.
It could have.
I can't smoke pot because it would kill me, but you could.
I probably could. I wouldn't recommend smoking the pot because
Well, you know what I mean.
Well, with
THC.
Yeah, because the coughing would probably hurt my back more than anything.
Yeah, well, you'd probably do edibles.
Yeah. Get some brownies.
Sure, whatever.
Yes,
Brownies,
yes,
cupcakes,
brownies.
whatever.
It's
Just drink the THC oil.
it's essential oils. I'm just rubbing it in my eyeballs.
It's essential oils. You just got to get it in the skin. Work it in real good. It's just fucking tweaking.
I just tweak it. I'm pouring it into a funnel in my asshole. It's really great. This is the best way to experience it.
Freebase the oil.
Freebase it. What is that? It's a giant ball of resin. God, I'm kind of showing something I shouldn't be showing at this podcast. Am I not?
Oh my God, you've used marijuana. You are a horrible person.
I am a terrible person. So yeah, I really recommended that. And it's a guy's out of Chicago, so I'm gonna see maybe dipping my toe into what they got there, but I'm not gonna do it if it's too much. Like I could deal with a little bit. Like if you go there and it's like we have an adventure set up, I'll be like, oh sweet, an adventure. But if you go there and they're like, this is a weekend long camping expedition, I'm like, no, I'm not there yet.
I think I'd like to do one of those because there's one that was set up then, and it was camping, but it was at I don't know how to describe what it is because it was like a campground, but there were buildings.
Yeah, no, they do that whole thing. They rent it out for the weekend. They set up everything.
Yeah, that, because I fucking hate camping. That's
it's
no,
me. Yeah.
But that seemed pretty cool because it was you actually went inside and you could sleep outside in a tent if you wanted, but there was an actual building with walls and windows and television.
I think this would. How does this sound for a business idea? Me and you set this up. How does this sound? We get a really nice hotel in the western suburbs. We rent out the hotel or a B&B or something like that for a weekend, and we advertise that, hey, we're going to be doing a weekend-long LARP where it's like Call of Cthulhu or something like a murder mystery thing. And we just say, we're hosting it, we're running it, everything's going to be, your tickets pay for everything, a meal, breakfast, blah, blah, blah. But we run this whole event. It's like $200 for the ticket. You think people would do that?
I mean, that sounds sweet.
I know, doesn't it?
It sounds cool.
You're supplied with your character, a costume, mayhaps. You could pay extra to have a costume brought to you. You need to be in costume. You could do all of that stuff, and you charge $200-$300 a ticket, making it an event thing. Especially on
cool.
Holidays, like a Halloween one. You look for people who are looking to do shit on Halloween.
Do a Lovecraftian mystery that we've written ourselves.
Yes.
Written an OC mystery written by Game Classy.
An OCGC mystery.
Nice.
Yes, or you could do something on a New Year's Day murder mystery or New Year's Eve murder mystery type thing, something like that. So people who are looking nerdy people who are looking for something to do on those holidays could have that thing to do.
That'd be pretty cool.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Oh, that's. Or you could do it like you go down to what's that?
We would need to make sure that our budget. We would need to like really look into like how much
it's
it would
gonna
cost.
Yeah,
because I mean, I wouldn't mind breaking even, but I can't lose money.
No.
Like breaking even would be fine. Like I would be okay with not being profitable, but like. So we need to see, like, if we did the money and be like, we need 1,000 people to show up, be like, that's never going to happen.
Well, that's what I was gonna say. Like, you could do Starved Rock and go with the big hotel, and just like have like we're doing a D&D like hiking LARP.
That'd be cool.
Yeah, and so you get your rooms. You could go in costume.
Get some fucking orcs hiding in the woods.
Yeah, we get Giuseppe to dress up like an orc, and he jumps out, and he's just...
No, Giuseppe has to be the inept magician's assistant.
Well, no, because that's a hero. You don't want to have the hero.
Well, he's not a hero. He's an inept magician's assistant.
Okay.
He's useless.
It's just you dressed as a wizard going, I am the wizard!
Yeah, he's my
None
assistant.
shall pass!
He's my assistant.
Wizard!
Like, give me my potion of strength! And he'd be like, here you go. And it's just like, this isn't a potion of strength.
Is that the yellow bean bag? The yellow bean bag?
This is fruit juice.
Fruit juice.
It's fruity.
And like
I guess I'm actually not really mad because the fruit juice, it tastes pretty good, but it's not giving me strength.
randomly on the so like I would be ahead, and I'd be like randomly placing like treasures to find on the path that people could find.
Yes, well, I'd be the wizard guiding the adventurers, and I'd be fucking useless. Be like, what is that? What is that creature?
We'll have Pet B dress up like a bear to attack them. It's a dire bear. Roar!
He's a bear with a Chicago Sox hat.
Not even a bear's hat.
It's a Chicago Sox hat.
Oh, that'd be great.
Look out! That bear is a sports fan.
Exactly. The bear's a sports fan.
He's getting rowdy because his team lost.
So that's about it in terms of like Gen Con. I mean, like there was other stuff too. I'll probably remember it. Like the great thing about recording is that I'm going to be driving home thinking about like the 8,000 things that I should have mentioned. I didn't play too many games.
You just mention it later.
Yeah.
Dude, who cares? We're never supposed to be on time with our news.
No. Someone mentioned that. Like I was like, when are we ever? Like we are wrong 99% of the time. Oh, one thing I wanted to mention. I think we're way over at this point. Well, not really. Only 1 minute over.
Nice.
So I wanted to talk about Age of Sigmar because I've been playing it a lot.
Mm-hmm.
I think
actually played a few games myself.
The tournament rules, I think they don't help that game. I think that they really kind of make the game lose a lot of its luster. The fact that you have to have battle line troops, I think that.
Well, I think there weren't enough. I think they're addressing one of the issues with Battleline in the new General's Compendium because the current one there's not enough. There's not enough Battleline options, and they're really finicky with how you can get them. Like there's really weird ways to lose the Battleline if. So I think that's going to be fixed in the new General's Compendium, which is why I fucking love that system because they can fix problems by re-releasing that book.
Yeah. Yeah, I think right now the problem is with the lack of battle line troops. It's or even having to have battle line troops that gets into min-maxing, which I don't think is beneficial for the game, because it's like, oh, I want to take, like I was talking with a buddy and I was like, we should do a team tournament next year for Adepticon. Let's take all giants. Oh, that'd be fucking great. Oh wait, we're only allowed 2 giants per 1,000 points. Well, that sucks. Like. I don't want to take like a whole. I just want to take 4 models in my army. Like, why should I not be allowed?
I think there's a formation that has battle line giants.
If there is in the new compendium, because there's not in the old one.
I think the ale guzzler. I think there's an ale guzzler formation where it's like if they're all ale guzzlers, they're battle line.
Oh, that'd be fucking fantastic.
Yeah, I believe that's a thing.
I would do that.
So, but that's something
because there is like a battle scroll for an all ale guzzler army that gives you an ale guzzler general. But I don't think it, unless in the new book it makes them.
Yeah, I think they're going to do something like that. The allies rules are really cool too from the new book, where you can take 400 points of whatever. Yeah. I like that a lot. And the way, because the way the battle line's supposed to work, I believe, is like it's supposed to give you a reward for being like thematic. So like having my Blight Kings count as battle line, that's cool, because then like that's supposed to be a bonus. But the problem is that like the way they did it in the current book is it's just a little too restrictive. So it's like I should just take 3 units of Plague Bearers for my battle line.
I mean, like one of the things I really liked about Age of Sigmar was that it was kind of like just take whatever you want. Mm-hmm. I mean, and there's nothing that restricts it when you're playing. Like if me and you played a game, there's nothing that says like me and you have to play tournament rules.
Right, we can just grab whatever and play.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I still like the points, and I was explaining this is that points make it feel balanced. It doesn't necessarily make it feel fair, but it's balanced.
Right.
So I could take like 1,200 points, and you could take 1,500 points, and it wouldn't seem very different.
Right. And you could be like, oh, okay. You know,
Yeah.
it gives you it just gives you a baseline.
Yeah, and that's like I was trying to explain to some of the people at GW that like the reason why we made fun of that game and hated it so much was because there was no sense of what was balanced.
There's
and
no
what
weight.
was not.
Like,
Yeah.
like, and in the no points thing, it's like, why would you ever take a Skaven slave? Why? There's no reason ever to take that model. There's no reason to buy that model. There's no reason to own that model. If there's no points, there's like chaff units are stupid, and even mediocre units are stupid. If there's no points, just take the best shit.
Yeah.
Period. Like, my army is all chosen Chaos Knights. Like, that is all I'm using. Or I'm using 6 dudes on dragons. You know.
Well, and that's the thing too is like, okay, so you have like Chaos Marauders. Like, oh, I want to take in a really beefy fucking crazy ass Chaos monster list. Okay, well you have to have your 2 battle line units. Okay, so I'm taking 2 5-man Marauder units, and they're just gonna sit there and do nothing while I actually play with the models that I want to play with. Go on, like that's the type of min maxing that I'm just like this is stupid. We like this that ruins a game for me. Like min maxing like that, and that was one of the things too that I really liked, and I think it's a big problem with 40K right now. Is that 40K? Is that when you have like you're buying a 10-man unit. You're not buying a 5-man unit, and every model after that costs this many points. No, it's you for 10-man. It costs you 100 points.
Right.
Okay. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about that. That's it. The 40K system that they have, like that, whatever that's called, whatever the douchebag system, or the thumb up the ass system, whatever it's called. That's fine. Then they also have the per point system, which I think is fucking terrible. Like, that ruins 40K for me, because that way you get people going like, should I give him an Auspex or should I not give him an Auspex? What is an Auspex? Who knows? It gives me a bonus.
Well, most of the stuff I saw, it said like these models come with this, like period. Like you take them with this. Like this is how they come.
Well, even still, it's like, should I put a plasma gun in this unit or should I not put a plasma gun in this
That's
unit?
why they designed the game the way they did, so that you have an option to play, and that guy has an option to play.
Well, that's what I like about Age of Sigmar. It's like, no, there is no option. There's none of this bullshit. Just, this is what you get for 100 points. The Caradon Overlords kind of have a little bit of an issue with that, where it's like, how do I
they have
equip
a lot of
them?
options, but I think it's kind of, I think they're looking at their rules. I didn't see anything that was like, there's nothing about any of their options that seemed definitive to me. It was everything they had. I think they did a really good job with those rules, because I was looking at them, I was kind of like, all right, like I could see that. Like
The way you do the option of 40K is you take whatever gives you the most amount of dice.
Right, 40K
That's-
is straight
no,
up
no,
like...
No, I'm sorry, in Age of Sigmar, it's do whatever gives you the most amount of dice.
Well, no,
or
because mortal
rend.
wounds are important.
That's what I'm saying, or rend.
Yeah, well, they have
More
because they
wounds
have
for ends,
the hook that lets you drag, like, so the overlords. There's their guns are usually, there's 3 styles of gun generally. There's a bunch of shots.
I'm playing with a Caradon Overlord right
There's
now.
a bunch of shots gun. There's the harpoon gun, which is a movement gun, and then there's the mortal wounds gun. That's like
whalers on the moon.
they are. Those are the 3 gun
with our
options.
harpoon.
I think that there's a fine reason to use all of them.
We don't set sail because they ain't got whales.
We tell tall tales because there ain't no whales on the moon. There were no whalers on the moon. Futurama got pulled from Netflix.
Only the Fox.
Yeah, the Fox stuff.
Yeah.
Those
Well,
sons of bitches.
It's going to happen where it's going to be like 800 subscribing services, and no one's going to subscribe to any of them, and everyone's going to go to the pirate sites.
Yeah, I mean, I believe that there's enough market saturation with Hulu, Amazon, and Netflix that all of these independent ones are just going to crumble.
Well, it's the funny thing is like when Disney said that they're going to pull all the Disney Netflix movies, and it's only pulling the Disney animated,
Right, they're only pulling Disney, not Marvel or Star Wars.
which is stupid. Like if Disney Disney is one of those studios that if they set up their own streaming service and had all of their
They
stuff,
have contracts,
I know.
so they can't.
I know, but let's say that they were eventually did over time.
Yeah.
Like,
Oh, they'll
hey,
pull it as soon as they can.
Yeah. Like, hey, here's our streaming service. It has every animated Disney movie, Steve. It has every made-for-TV Disney movie. It has... I could finally watch Mr. Boogedy in HD.
Mr. Boogedy.
Fucking I'd kill for an HD version of Mr. Boogedy.
I want an HD version of Something Wicked This Way Comes.
Yeah, something like that. And then, oh, you like Star Wars? Here's all the Star Wars movies. And all the Star Wars TV shows. And the fucking TV special. I'm sure they own the rights to that
The
now.
holiday special?
Yeah, the holiday special.
Fucking B. Arthur.
Yeah. Like, here's all the...
Do you know what it's like being a fembot living in a manbot man-pewter's world?
Well, it's like, here's all the shit that you
I
love.
miss B. Arthur.
Yeah. Here's all the shit that you love, all the Star Wars cartoons that you want.
Oh,
Your
yeah,
Marvel.
I mean-
here's all your Marvel shit, all your Marvel cartoons. Here's everything that's been on Disney Channel and Disney HD.
If they produce that content at a stable price point, they could be another one that exists. But it's just too much. Like, I'll use CBS as an example, or ABC.
CBS is
the one that's Star Trek.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
I'll use an
No one's
example.
gonna get that.
Like, no. If anything, what I'll do is I'll wait for the Star Trek to be completely done. I'll buy a month, watch Star Trek, cancel my subscription immediately, and call it a day.
Yeah.
Like, I'm actually okay with doing that. I don't mind paying to see content. I don't mind that. I just think it's very foolish for all of these companies to just think that there's just all this unlimited money around for sure. Like, the average, I have to imagine if they're like me and they don't use television, they only use streaming services, they're paying $10 a month for Hulu, $10 a month for Netflix. That's $20. Amazon comes out to be like $7 a month if you count it, because it's a yearly fee, but it's about $70. So let's just say
It's
average
$30.
$30 a month.
Yeah.
That's what an average person like me who doesn't use cable, they just use streaming services, is paying. There's like reasonably, like, maybe if I really want. Oh, and I use Crunchyroll. I actually use one more streaming service than I would say average. So I'm actually paying $40 a month. And I would say I'm above average. I'd say I use more streaming than the average person. So how much more do they think like I have? Like, how much more do they think people have? Like, I'm willing to bet that there's plenty of people out there who don't have $40 a month now to pay for 3 streaming services or 4.
It's almost with Netflix at this point. If it wasn't for the kids stuff, like, my daughter watches far more Netflix than I do.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, like, what do I watch on Netflix? I watch, like, I think
Do you watch the Marvel shows?
I watch the Marvel shows. There's a like Stranger Things. I'll watch when it comes out.
I watch Black Mirror.
Black Mirror is so fucking full of itself.
I really liked so I actually hated Black Mirror. Like, I watched the first couple episodes and
Even
I was
the
like,
big fucker one. That was the only one that's worth watching.
I didn't think that one was very good.
I thought that one was hysterical.
I was like, this fucking show. Like, I was like, why is everyone talking about how good this show is? And then I found out someone was like, oh, just watch the Netflix season, because I guess the most recent season. Only the most recent season was just on my Netflix.
Yeah.
I really like the most recent season. It's very cool.
Yeah, I mean, it's fine. The bigger problem with it I have is that it's not tongue-in-cheek enough for me for, like, an anthology show. Anybody who's listened to Comic Book Logic
It's very serious.
or Planet Arbitrary knows that I love anthology shows. I will watch the fuck out of Twilight Zone
Yeah,
or Outer
they're awesome.
Limits or Tales from the Crypt. Like,
Tales from the Crypt is like almost a parody of itself.
I love Tales from the Crypt.
I love it too, but
Yeah.
like Twilight Zone takes itself very seriously in many episodes.
in many episodes, but it's not quite an like. That's the thing with Black Mirror is it's like oh, it's so serious. It's like it makes me feel so bad. I'm like, no, it just makes me mad that like someone would write this and be like, no, this is how the future is going to be.
I liked the most recent season. It was mostly just weird. Like, so far they've just been like weird.
The
Like,
new season they're doing like a Star Trek episode.
Sweet.
I know.
That's
it was,
cool.
It was.
I'm
I'm
down.
like I'm gonna watch it. I watch the show anyway because I'm a glutton for punishment, and I
the Pedo Kid episode was pretty fucking good.
that was stupid. Oh my god, that was the worst fucking thing I've ever seen.
That was good stuff.
But that's the thing. It's like this writing. It's like it's so ham-handed that it's just like, well, there's no skill in this. There's no art. You're just like beating me over the head with this fucking nonsense that you're like this
Fight.
Yeah,
To the death. That was fucking sweet.
it was stupid.
Loved it.
Because no one questioned anything in that episode. Like, just stopped and said like, oh, if I just do this, I won't have to deal with this nonsense.
Well, I mean, he was like a fucking pretty young teenager. So I'm pretty sure that there's been situations that literally were like that in real life several times.
And just too heavy-handed for me. The tongue wasn't near the cheek enough for me.
The ass cheek.
The ass cheek, yes. Now if Black Mirror did that.
I like the
Like the
video.
pig
I like
fucking
the
episode.
video game one too.
Oh, that one was the worst.
0.4 seconds. That was cool.
Yeah. But no, pig fucking. That was it. The Prime
Yeah.
Minister has to fuck a pig.
I didn't really like that one.
Oh my
It was
God.
kinda like, eh.
Well,
It was like because that one, all of the British ones were just so long.
They
It's
were
like,
very
It's like,
long.
this is so long. Like, stop. Like the one with the treadmill one, where they're sitting on the treadmills and like they're earning
Oh yeah,
points.
they earn the points. Yeah.
Right. That one, like, I got it. It was like, okay, I get it.
Get it.
And it's like, There's still 30 minutes left of this episode.
Well, that's always like that's the reason why I preferred the Star Trek animated to the original series, because the Star Trek animated episodes are only a half hour long.
Yep.
So they do Star Trek much better than the original
That's
series.
just like Twilight Zone. All the original episodes are half hour, and then season 3, I think
they started
went,
doing an hour, yeah.
and they're awful. It's the
Yeah.
worst season by far. But then they went back for season 4. They went back to half hours, and it was better again.
Yeah.
Because you don't need that much time.
No, you're getting across a moral message, like, and it doesn't take an idiot that long to get the message of
Or just tell the story. Like there's
Yeah. Well, guess what? Hey, guy, hey, Steve, racism is bad. You know how long it took me to tell you that message? 5 seconds.
very good.
Yeah.
With
Twilight Zone, you don't need like an half hour to even tell me racism is bad.
It's like there's so I've been watching a lot of anthology movies actually lately. I just watched Holidays.
I haven't seen that one. Kevin Smith does one.
He
of
does
that.
a short in there.
Yeah.
You'll know which one he does because his kid's in it.
Oh.
You'll immediately be like, oh, this one's Kevin Smith because it's his kid.
Yeah, I haven't seen that one yet. No.
Holidays was very, like most anthology movies, very uneven.
Yeah.
There were some that were really good and some that were not so good, but a few of them are a little too long and a few of them are a little too short. And I think that's the same thing with the anthology series. It's very difficult to find that like perfect timing, because whenever I'm watching an anthology thing, I almost invariably, when I'm done with whatever it is, I'm always like, fuck, that was just a little too long, or like, shit, it was too short. I didn't get it.
with anthologies, I always with an anthology movie, 51% of it has to be good in order for it to be a good movie.
I believe Holidays would meet that criteria.
Yeah, it's just got to be 51%. If it's not 51%, it's terrible. That's why ABCs of Death is very hard to watch.
Yeah, ABC's Death is but ABC's Death is all over the place. Like,
Yeah.
there's some that are fucking, like, Masturbation is fucking amazing. That's by far one of the best pieces of an anthology film I've ever seen.
But what about farting?
Farting's pretty funny, but like, is it like those movies are that movie is
Yeah.
like totally
But
all over the
it's
place.
so hard because
have you
you
seen the
have-
sequel? Is the sequel as good as the first one? Overall,
I mean, it's,
Okay.
well, no, it's not as good. It's like it's hard because you have 26 to watch as opposed to like 5 or 4.
Right.
And so you're like, Anyway, we're way over at this point. Why not? Well, it's because we love you as listeners. That's the reason. Go to planetarbitrary.com for Planet Arbitrary Needs. You can follow me on Twitter at Planet Arbitrary. You can follow Steve at
I'm Command Throw.
like our Facebook page /Game Classy Podcast. Best way to get in contact with us is through Facebook. Generally, we don't care anywhere else.
You can also just tweet at me, because if you tweet at me, I will definitely see it and respond to it. Like, Facebook actually has a problem where like I'll miss messages and shit because
Well,
Facebook's stupid.
Oh, Facebook! The new messaging system on
It's
Facebook.
awful.
Why
Like,
do they do it like?
I can't check the Game Classy Facebook messages on my phone. I have to be at a computer to check it.
You can do it through the browser generally, not the app.
Fuck that.
I know, it's a pain in the
So
ass.
like that's the thing. So like a bunch of messages I miss on Game Classy, and like the notifications are all fucked. So like if you really need to talk to me, shoot me a message on Twitter.
Well, yeah, and
I am Command Throw.
yeah,
all
and
one word.
And the problem is too is like if you send a message and like let's say Steve sees it, Steve will open it up, and then I won't get the notification because
Right.
Steve opened it up.
Right, and we'll miss things. Like, I've definitely seen ones that like I was like, I don't think either of us saw this because it was like directed at me or directed at you, and I'm just like, ooh, neither of us responded to this message. I think one of us may have not looked at it. Yeah. So it's if you need like something important, hit us up on me on Twitter. Joe might have a different.
Generally Facebook. I don't check Twitter as much. Yeah.
So if you're trying to get Joe, post on the wall maybe, because then that's easier to see.
Or you could say like, Joe, check the messages for the board. Check messages for Facebook.
Yes, you could do that if you want to say. If you send us a PM and let us know on the wall, someone will definitely be able to see it.
Yeah, we might ignore it, but we'll definitely see it.
Yeah, we might send you like a picture of Mickey Mouse giving you the finger or something, but we'll respond. Giving you the finger, buddy.
Oh yeah, you like that? We're gonna get sued. We gonna get sued.
So sued.
Also look for us on the YouTube. We put this up on YouTube. Like 2 fans like it on YouTube, so that's why I put it up there.
Hell yeah. We got that YouTube fan base growing.
Growing. Yeah, listen
It's
to us
because
on
you don't
YouTube.
use enough anime titty pictures for our
true.
the thumbnails.
The best way you can help out the podcast is like, comment, and subscribe on iTunes. You can also listen to our sister podcast. You can listen to Weeb Town, which has got Steve and young Giuseppe talking about all things Japanese.
There will be more Weeb Town coming.
You have Play On Podcast, where Steve and Pat B get to complain about Nintendo.
We're gonna record tonight. This is the Nintendo apocalypse.
I did not mention it this episode because I wanted
You'll be able to enjoy it fresh.
Well, I wanted to enjoy it fresh, and I also wanted to keep you fresh.
Yes.
I didn't want you to like get it all out of your system, and then like
I won't get
when
it out.
Pat gets here, you're just like
I'm tuckered out.
You're all tuckered out.
I won't be tuckered out.
No.
I'll give it to Pat full.
You're gonna give him the full pat.
I'm going to the full Pat. I unfortunately have to keep the 3DS though because there's too many third-party titles for it that are just only on the 3DS. I am getting rid of all first-party Nintendo titles though,
Yeah, well, there you go. Those are the ones that are actually worth some money.
which will be nice for my bank account.
Nice for your bank account. And Comic Book Logic is taking a hiatus. We're working on a new project right now. It's going to be coming out hopefully in the fall. We're going to try doing some test recordings on it, but it's pretty good. Steve might do some voices on it. I might drag him into it.
Cool.
He had no idea that I was going to.
I've been ambushed. It's an ambush.
All right, so Steve, until next time.
Ain't no stopping us now. Gonna go adventuring.
Game Classy.